Good evening, YouTube. What's going on, guys? This is Finn from Team Giddens here. I'm here tonight to start the second part of my How Hasn't It Been Hit Yet segment. I'm here to talk today about a card that pisses everybody off. Don't tell me it doesn't piss you off. I'm here today to talk about Rekindling. Rekindling basically makes Flamvels, Lavels, whatever deck that you throw it into, it makes that deck pretty crazy and able to explode at any time, at any place. I'm here today to talk about the card, how it's maybe broken, how it's not broken in a way, how it is broken again. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want you to comment down below with what you think, if it's broken or not broken, and if it should be hit by the new ban list coming out. Okay, so first of all, this is my thoughts on how the card is broken. First of all, it makes the deck very viable. If Flamvels, Lavels, Neo Flamvel, whatever it is that you throw it into, if they didn't have Rekindling, nobody would play the deck. I mean, not too many people play the deck as it is, but the people that do play the deck in the current format really know what they're doing, especially with Rekindling. But without it, what do they have? They have Flamvel Fire Dog, which is a pretty decent card, but besides that, they don't have much besides a bunch of tuners and just a bunch of pyro, but it's not a viable deck. But with Rekindling, Rekindling is like the only card that they really have that sets them apart from every other deck. Next up, that deck can make Shooting Quasar Dragon so quickly and so easily. I made a deck. I've just out of curiosity made a Flamvel deck the other day on the Dueling Network, and there were multiple duels where like second turn, third turn, I was in clear view of shooting Quasar Dragon, just easily too. I mean, that deck, I mean, Rekindling, I mean, you can reborn two Flamvel Fire Dogs, two Flamvel Babies, go into two level 5s, normal summon Flamvel Baby, and make, what do you call it, Formula Synchron, and just go into shooting Quasar Dragon like that. And basically, once shooting Quasar Dragon gets out, that's basically game right there, guys. Next up is something that really, this is what pisses me off the most about the card. There's absolutely no cost for Rekindling. You don't pay 1,000 life points. You don't pay half your life points. You just get as many, as many monsters from your graveyard with 200 defense. They probably have to be the fire attribute. I don't have the card handy to look at, but I'm sure that's what it is. But there's no cost for it. I mean, there's a possibility that if you don't do something really interesting with them, that they're going to get removed from play. But still, there's ways around that. Overall, it ticks me off that there's no cost to this card, that they can easily get a +5 on the field, 5 monsters from their graveyard. That's crazy, and then go into shooting Quasar Dragon. I think that's a little ridiculous. Next point towards the fact that it might be a broken card. It is a broken card in my book. I should say that before I go on. There's too many damn targets for this card. I mean, at first I was looking at the card, it's just like, oh, well, they have to have 200 defense. But then you realize almost every Flamvel, Neo Flamvel, and Lavel monster has 200 defense, except for friggin' Flamvel Fiend, but I don't think anybody runs that. But overall, there's just too many damn targets. You can fill up your graveyard and then just go crazy with Rekindling. Get whatever you want. You can take and pick whatever you want. And the final, actually not the final thing, I have 2 more things that I want to say about it being broken. I think it's just about the most powerful card that you could draw a late game. I mean, when you think about it, if your opponent summons a bunch of monsters late game and you have nothing and you draw a Dark Hole, you can Dark Hole field, blow up the field, and then guess what? You're still open for an attack. But if you draw this late game, you can special summon up to 5 monsters from your graveyard and go crazy with synchro summoning. Flamvels have so many different tuners and non-tuners. You can just make whatever you want. If you draw Rekindling late game, you can get right back in it, like so quickly. It's crazy. And finally, this is something that I've been toying around with in my deck. I want to say that there are ways to get it around removing from play. A lot of Flamvel decks, if you don't run like the Neo Flamvel engine with the Hedgehog and Garuda, which I actually kind of like those cards to an extent. I actually really like the Hedgehog. But if you run Imperial Iron Wall in that deck, then not only do you make your graveyard safe from like DD Crow, Book of Life, other cards that remove stuff from your graveyard. Not only that, But you have, if you get stuff in your graveyard that you need with like Foolish Burial or however, you have everything right there in your graveyard to do with Rekindling and go crazy with Rekindling. Um, okay, so now I want to get to a few points how the game might be. I mean, excuse me, how the card might not be broken. There aren't that many. I think it's a terrible early game play. If you pull that first turn, what the hell are you going to do with it? It's just going to sit in your hand because it would be a waste just to fill up your graveyard with, what, one or two Flamvel monsters and then use Rekindling to get both of them back. What are you going to do? Make a 6 or a 5? That's not a good move. That's not a good play. However, I said that if you draw it mid or late game, it's crazy. You can do whatever you want with that card. And the only other minus that I found to this card is that it's a possible minus if your monsters get removed from play, because then where's your then your graveyard, you don't have a graveyard, then they all get removed from play. But as I said, either A, you can synchro summon something crazy and huge with the monsters, which is probably what you're gonna do, or use a card like Imperial Iron Wall and just they don't get removed from play. It's that easy. I think Rekindling is incredibly broken. I think it should get hit. I don't think it should get banned. I think it's not at all that good. Not to mention, if not enough people are, barely anybody's playing Flamvels and Lavels now, if they lose Rekindling, there goes that deck completely. I think Rekindling should get hit to 2 or maybe even 1. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Tell me your stories, your horror stories, dueling against Flamvels and Lavels with Rekindling. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, people. Peace.